Hello there, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about Film Worker. This was a hour-and-a-half long documentary about Liam Vatali, who was one of the assistants to Stanley Kurbick from the 1970s onwards, both from Barry Lyndon basically onwards, and his life with Kubrick and his life after Kubrick died. That's all it's about. That's the film, but it's a very fascinating story. Basically what happened was Liam Vatali was an actor from the late 60s, early 70s who got a job on Barry Lyndon playing the son of the female lead. And he had a pivotal role in the film, and it was an important role, and Kubrick liked him as they were making the film because he was very attentive and very interested in the production work and how things worked, and he was always working hard on his part, and Kubrick just likes his work ethic and just bonded with him. They just started talking to him and they just started to connect as people. And basically after the film finished, he went on doing a few acting jobs but started into the production side of things. And then as Kubrick started working in The Shining, he pulled Vatali in to help cast the Danny Lloyd character. And then, Darren Torrance' character played by Danny Lloyd, and then help Danny Lloyd throughout the film, but also as he was doing that film, he was also helping Kubrick in other aspects of the production. And then after The Shining, he became one of Kubrick's assistants. So it meant he worked through Full Metal Jacket and Eyes Wide Shut, and as well as helping the preservation of all the old films, helping work out the publicity for the Kubrick films, new and old, making sure when the films went out to be shown there were good quality prints. Just doing a lot of work for Kubrick, dealing with the studio for Kubrick a lot of the time, communicating with different people, and then when the films were actually getting made, he was helping out by like being a production assistant for Kubrick and like rehearsing actors because he was an actor. He could rehearse like Lee Arnry to be an actor, to get the lines right. He could, in Eyes Wide Shut, he was the sinister guy who was the centre of the orgy scene. That was Liam Vatali. And he was also doing a lot of production work in that film as well. So he was like one of the Kubrick's 3 or 4 people who Kubrick relied on to be everywhere. There was Tony Fervin, who was another guy who did other jobs for Kubrick. There was Kubrick's secretary, Margaret Somebody, and there was Liam Vatali. Those were the 3 people plus Kubrick who were the core of the Kubrick team. And other people were brought on film to film, like the DP for a film, but Kubrick would plan everything out well in advance, and he would drive everyone insane because he was very demanding for it to be as best as possible. And one of the things that this film makes clear is Vatali shared that belief of it has to be as good as it can be. Even these annoying small details that would annoy the hell out of you do, they're important. They promote the film, they make the film better, that you have to do them. That even if they drive you insane, they're important. And it all becomes like what that meant to Kubrick, what that meant to Vatali, and how Vatali kind of subsumed his life to be Kubrick's assistant to, from his point of view, it seemed to be like, this guy's a great artist, I'm not, so I'll help him be the best he can be, make the best films he can be. And that's worthwhile for my life, really. That's a good use of my life, to help someone who's a great artist to actually make the art. So what comes through in his film is, to Vatali, that becomes something that's very satisfying. So even when Kubrick dies, even when he's not going to get paid, he still goes around the Kubrick archives and gives tours to people who want to know. And it's a really moving story about a man's dedication to an artist, to a friend, an employer. Like, he was employed by Kubrick, but he obviously loved the guy, even when Kubrick could be difficult. And this film did not shy away from the fact that Kubrick could be a dick sometimes. Kubrick had his own problems, he had his own difficulties with people, he had his own issues. He could lose his temper with Vatali a lot because the way if someone's a friend, you can lose a temper with them. The way you can't the person you really want to rage at. There's that thing, and it's obvious that happens sometimes. Like, he couldn't rage at the studio, should rage at Vatali. Or his other assistants, because they were friends as well, so they knew what was going on. They also knew Kubrick's weirdnesses, like certain things that didn't make sense, but they were important to Kubrick. And they weren't going to judge him for that. It was just like, that's just his thing. It's just, that's how you deal with him. Because everyone's got that. So they seemed to be very considerate about that. It was like, that's just some of his character flaws. And we'll get through that, and we'll get the film made, and we'll get everything else done, and we'll deal with it. So it's a very moving film about someone who, you could see in a dark way, like, why did he give his life up to help this guy who could sometimes be a dick? But that's obviously the film, that's not what he saw. He saw as a great director who needed help. And it showed as an act of kindness to actually put up with the worst stuff to help him get his friend get to do the best stuff. Like, there's stories about him helping Kubrick as they were going through Eyes Wide Shut and working the sets after everyone had gone home for the next day, so that stuff that DP normally do, but they would do because Kubrick wanted it precisely right. And it's like, a normal guy would not do that for a director, but someone who's dedicated to the craft would. And that's what's so wonderful about the film. It shows these details, these things that were important to Kubrick that Vatali got as well. So they were important to him, important to Kubrick, important to Vatali, so he helped him do it. And there's moving stories about how, when Kubrick died, basically he talked to Vatali for a couple of hours, or a day or two before he died, and there were signs of Kubrick getting really old and tired of the process. And Vatali had to do the post-production work after Kubrick died. Even though he was grieving, he still had to do that support work, and then grieve later once the work was done. And then he had to go and make sure all the restorations were done properly and all this. And because he wasn't ever the famous part of the Kubrick family, he may have not been treated as well as he should have been. So there's all this stuff in the film, but all the little petty stuff, like how he was treated, he didn't seem to care that much about it. Didn't seem to be as important to him. And so as a viewer, you're not that interested. That's life, that's where things go. What was interesting was the work it was made. So even though Vatali obviously got tired, got broken down, it was a very tiring job, and his family suffered sometimes for it, that's not what you take away from the film. It's like, this is a story about a guy who really loved what he was doing, and who viewed it as important to be this person for Kubrick, to be a film worker, a guy who would help get the film made and get the film moved forward. And how like a big director needs people like that to really help him get through it all, because a lot of people they work with, they're not really committed. They're there for the paycheck, and they'll do the work, but they're not committed to the idea. You need people who are committed to the overall dream of the film, and he was one of them. So it's a wonderful film. I recommend it highly. Go see it. It's a beautiful film. You can catch it on Amazon, or you can buy the DVD of it. It's wonderful. It's really worth seeing. So I highly recommend it. Especially if you're a Kubrick fan. Even if you're not a Kubrick fan, if you're interested in directors and what it takes to make a film, this is a film to see, because it shows you it's not just one person doing it, it's a lot of people, and you need a certain amount of really dedicated people to make films. So if you hate Kubrick, this is still a good film to see, because it's about dedication to make films. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'll be back soon with my final video of the week, which will be a bit more of a silly one. Okay, right, bye.